Welcome back, dear viewers, to our channel. We're thrilled to have you here with us as we delve into the chilling mysteries and unsolved enigmas of our world. Your continued support means the world to us, and we couldn't do it without you. So don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share our videos with your friends, and drop a comment down below. We love hearing your thoughts, your theories, your insights. Today, we're diving into a case that will send chills down your spine. A case that has baffled investigators for decades. We're taking you back to the heart of America in the 1930s, to a city gripped by a horrifying enigma that remains unsolved to this day. But before we get started, we want to know, what unsolved mystery intrigues you the most? Is it a cold case, a legendary creature, an unexplained occurrence? Share with us in the comments below. Now brace yourselves as we journey into the dark corners of Cleveland, Ohio, and the reign of terror that was the Cleveland torso murderer. In the heart of America, a city was once gripped in the clutches of an enigma, a question that remains unanswered to this day. Our tale unfolds in the bustling city of Cleveland, Ohio, the pulsing heart of America's industry in the 1930s, a city of contrasts, where the glittering lights of prosperity barely masked the shadows of poverty. It was here in these dimly lit corners that a malevolent force began to stir, a force that would come to be known as the Cleveland torso murderer. As the Roaring Twenties gave way to the Great Depression, the city was gripped by a chilling new reality. The gruesome discovery of dismembered bodies, unceremoniously discarded, left the community in a state of shock. The victims, often drifters or those living on the margins of society, were decapitated and mutilated, their identities as obscured as that of the faceless predator who hunted them. The killer, shrouded in anonymity, seemed to move with impunity through the city's underbelly, his actions leaving a trail of questions in their wake. Who was he? What drove him to such unspeakable acts of violence? And most hauntingly, who would be next? The city, once a beacon of hope and prosperity, was now a stage for a macabre play, its inhabitants unwilling participants in a real-life horror show. The reactions were as varied as they were profound. Some, paralyzed by fear, retreated into their homes, their lives dictated by the chilling rhythm of the murders. Others, driven by a morbid curiosity, followed the case with an intensity that bordered on obsession. Yet despite the rampant speculation and the fevered investigations, the killer's identity remained an elusive enigma, his motives as inscrutable as the grim trophies he left behind. And so began a reign of terror that would leave the city of Cleveland in a state of perpetual fear. Who were the victims, you might ask? Their stories are as tragic as they are unsettling. The victims of the Cleveland torso murderer were largely society's forgotten. Many were transients, the homeless, people living on the fringes of society. These were individuals whose absence might not be immediately noticed, whose faces might not be immediately missed. They were vulnerable, often struggling with poverty and substance abuse. The first victim was a woman known only as the Lady of the Lake. Her identity remains a mystery to this day. Then came Edward Andrassy, a local troublemaker with a criminal record. His life was far from perfect, but he didn't deserve the brutality that befell him. The murders were gruesome, the bodies often decapitated and dismembered, making identification a formidable challenge. This was not a crime of passion or a moment of rage. It was calculated, cold, and utterly devoid of humanity. One victim was a woman whose head was never found. Despite this, investigators were able to determine that she had worn dentures, a detail that humanized her, reminding us that she was more than just a victim. She had a life, a story, a past that was brutally stolen from her. A young man, perhaps in his 20s, was another of the unidentified victims. Who was he? What dreams and aspirations did he carry in his heart before his life was cruelly snuffed out? We may never know. The sheer number of victims, 12 officially but potentially more, and the fact that many were never identified adds an extra layer of mystery to this already chilling case. It's a grim reminder of the anonymity of the victims, their invisibility in society, and the ease with which their lives were extinguished. Each victim, a tragic tale of life cut short, a piece of the puzzle that seemed impossible to solve. With the city in panic, the call for justice echoed through the halls of law enforcement. The chilling tale of the Cleveland torso murderer was not one that could be solved by ordinary means. It called for the expertise of those who dared to delve into the darkness. Enter Peter Merillo, a seasoned detective with a reputation for solving the most puzzling of cases. However, even for the experienced Merillo, the Cleveland torso murderer was a puzzle of a different kind. The lack of evidence and the calculated precision of the killer presented hurdles that were far from ordinary. Then there was Elliot Ness, the safety director of Cleveland, a man known for his relentless pursuit of justice. Ness had been instrumental in bringing down some of the most notorious criminals of his time, but the Cleveland torso murderer was a different beast altogether. The phantom-like nature of the killer, who left little to no evidence, challenged even Ness's seasoned investigative skills. The challenges they faced were manifold. The crime scenes were meticulously cleaned, leaving behind only the gruesome remains of the victims. The killer was meticulous, leaving no fingerprints, no footprints, nothing. The lack of substantial physical evidence made it almost impossible for Merillo and Ness to piece together the killer's identity. They tried everything. They deployed undercover officers in the areas where the bodies were found. They organized citywide searches and implemented stricter law enforcement policies. They even reached out to the public, urging anyone with information to come forward. But all these efforts were met with a disheartening silence. The killer was always one step ahead, vanishing like a ghost in the wind. The investigation was a labyrinth of dead ends and false leads. Despite their relentless pursuit, despite their unwavering determination, the elusive murderer remained a spectre. The more they chased, the more elusive the killer became. It was as if they were chasing a ghost, a phantom that was always just out of reach. Despite their best efforts, the elusive murderer remained a ghost, slipping through the fingers of law enforcement. The Cleveland torso murderer, a spectre that haunts the annals of true crime history, remains an enigma to this day. Without a killer apprehended, theories began to swirl like a thick fog. The mystery surrounding the Cleveland torso murderer has sparked countless debates and speculations over the years. The identity of the killer, as elusive as the morning mist, has given birth to a plethora of theories, each more intriguing than the last. One of the most pervasive theories suggests that the killer had an advanced understanding of human anatomy, possibly indicating a background in medicine. The precision with which the bodies were dismembered and the seeming lack of hesitation marks on the victims led many to believe that the perpetrator could have been a doctor, a surgeon, or someone with substantial medical knowledge. This theory, however, remains pure speculation, as no concrete evidence has ever been found to substantiate these claims. Another popular theory revolves around the suspects that were considered during the investigation. Among them, Dr. Francis E. Sweeney, a veteran medical doctor who had served in World War I, was a prominent figure. Despite failing 2 polygraph tests and having a history of mental instability, Sweeney was never officially charged due to his political connections. His cousin, Congressman Martin L. Sweeney, was a powerful figure in Cleveland, making it practically impossible to pin the crimes on Francis. Then there was the theory about the so-called hobo jungle, a shanty town near one of the dumping sites. Some speculated that the killer could be a transient, moving from town to town, leaving a trail of bodies in his wake. This theory, however, was eventually dismissed due to the sophistication involved in the dismemberments. Lastly, the possibility of multiple murderers was considered. Could it be that the Cleveland torso murderer was not a single individual, but a group of deranged psychopaths? This concept, though chilling, was also discarded due to the consistent modus operandi observed in the killings. While the theories were abundant, the evidence was scarce, leaving more questions than answers. Now, decades later, the enigma of the Cleveland torso murderer still lingers. The reverberations of this chilling episode in Cleveland's history continue to echo, casting a long shadow over the city and the annals of true crime. This gruesome saga, punctuated by a series of unsolved and horrific murders, has left an indelible mark. It has not only shaped the city's identity but also significantly influenced the world of true crime. The case's complex narrative, the sheer brutality of the crimes, and the enduring mystery of the killer's identity have fascinated and horrified audiences in equal measure. The Cleveland Torso Murderer has found their way into the pages of numerous books, each author attempting to unravel the twisted tale. These narratives bring to life the grim reality of the time, presenting a vivid tableau of a city gripped by fear and a law enforcement struggling to find answers. This macabre tale has also been immortalized on the silver screen and through documentaries, each retelling adding another layer to the mystery. The cinematic renditions have served to amplify the intrigue, drawing in viewers with the promise of a dark thrill and the allure of an unsolved mystery. Beyond the realm of literature and film, the Cleveland Torso Murderer remains a topic of intense interest among true crime enthusiasts. Forums, podcasts and blogs are replete with discussions, theories and debates about this elusive killer. The case continues to captivate, its unanswered questions providing fertile ground for speculation and exploration. The legacy of the Cleveland Torso Murderer is one of intrigue and horror. It serves as a stark reminder of the darker side of humanity and the enduring power of unsolved mysteries. This case, a puzzle with missing pieces, continues to challenge, bewilder and fascinate. The Cleveland Torso Murderer, a spectre from the past, a mystery that continues to baffle and intrigue, a story that reminds us that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.